Hello and welcome back to the Wow Mom Show. I am your host, Ingrid M. Williams, and I am excited to be here with you today. Today I have a really great treat in store for you today. I have Miss Debbie Warner of Sparkle Entertainment, and she is going to give us a couple of steps about how we can infuse fun in teaching our children how to communicate. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Debbie. Hi, Debbie.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
And I wanted to have you on once we had spoken, because I feel like teaching my daughter to effectively communicate is something that is, always a work in progress.
Yes.
Some days she's really great at it, other days she's not. And as I talk to my mom friends, we all seem to have, that issue of how do we get the information out of them that we need to get out of them. So hopefully you can give us some tips on how we can do that today.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get started with that, let me know a little bit about Sparkle Entertainment and what it is that you do and your service and how you can help us.
Absolutely. Sparkle Entertainment is a full entertainment service with party rentals and we rent out tents and tables, and we have stilt walkers I subcontract out, face painters, balloonists, anything and everything that you can imagine, bouncy houses and all. Mm-hmm. So we bring the fun, loads of fun to you.
Wow.
Sparkle Entertainment has been in existence for more than 15 years.
Yeah. Congratulations. That's an awesome accomplishment.
Thank you.
The party. My daughter would love you.
Yes.
She's all about a good party.
Absolutely.
So, great. So, I know that you do a lot of work with parties and the rentals and all those things, but you also infused the entertainment side of your company to be more of a sounding board or a wealth of information for the actual hosts of the party, which would be the parents.
Right.
And tell us how you kind of married the two of helping parents on non-party days and making things exciting for the kids on party days.
Well, as you know, I'm an educator.
Okay.
I'm an educational consultant. I work with major universities. And in my travels and my journey, in the classroom, that's where I started, I found that I wanted children to actually critically think more than what they were currently doing.
Right.
And one of my ways to make my contribution was to write my We Sparkle book. Mm-hmm. It's for ages 4 and up. It's an activity book.
Nice.
So they can write on and wipe off.
Okay.
And what we do, may I show you?
Yeah, sure.
So it's a hardcover.
Okay.
It's durable and it's laminated. So they take the magical pen and we allow them, it spells out sparkle, how appropriate, right?
Right.
It's not about us. It's about the little kids and grooming them and that seeds of greatness pouring into their lives and making them better and more improved with their learning to make learning more fun. So it spells out sparkle. On each page, you have that particular letter.
Okay.
This particular page is S, and we associate different objects, different balloons that we've made. For example, on this page, a spider and a spaceship.
Nice.
So we ask the children a question, they get to answer it. We don't leave them hanging. What we do is give them 4 word choices on each page.
Wow.
It's colorful, it's alive, it grabs their attention. They get to write on, wipe off, they draw, they trace, they answer the question. And what's great about it, they can erase it and redo it.
Oh,
so it's
awesome.
a durable book.
Yeah, so you can it just keeps going.
It just keeps going, so it spells out sparkle. And then at the very back, you have a sparkle path where they learn new words.
Nice.
Build on the words that they learned. They have a riddle page. We give them clues and the answers are at the bottom.
Okay.
So we also would thank the children in different languages.
Oh,
and
that's awesome.
Feature some of the things that we've done over the years, as well as just make it enjoyable and fun.
I love it. I like the different languages. This is now, especially, in this century where we're all connected in a much greater way than we were before. When I was younger, I couldn't even tell you one person that lived maybe on the other side of the globe, and now you log on to Facebook and you have people that are from Nigeria and India and all in one space in a way, so the different languages to me is a great way to introduce the children at a younger age that there's different languages, there's different people, there's different cultures, there's diversity.
Absolutely. And that's what we feature in the book. We feature diversity in the book, children of all races. And they love the face painting associated with each page, the balloons associated with page. And I bought some other items where in the classroom, I work with a lot of teachers. And the learning part of it is where You can, for example, take the word spider,
Nice. Okay.
SPAIDER, and you can scramble it up,
Ah.
okay?
Uh-huh.
And then you can actually take those letters and spell new words. For example, with the word spider, you could spell sip,
Mm-hmm.
dip,
Mm.
red, R-E-D,
Mm-hmm.
and more.
Help you.
Mm-hmm.
R-E-D, yeah.
And more. So
That's a
what we
fun
do
way.
at the parties, we do like scavenger hunts,
Mhm.
where they're searching for the different objects. We'll hide the spider, we'll bring in associated images that they are familiar with. The spider, we have coloring books,
Mhm.
and we give these ideas not only to the parents, so they can replicate it when we're not there.
Mhm.
So they can repeat it, share it with their classmates,
Right.
teachers, and the whole community.
Right. I think that's an awesome service. So many times, we hire companies to do birthday parties and they just come and they provide their service and they go home. So I like your added aspect of having something, the games, something educational. The kids are learning. They don't even really realize it. So I really think that is something that is a very big added value because we're always learning, and I know that
Always.
children really do love to learn when they're having fun. To make it fun for them, and with all the standardized testings and all these benchmarks and all those other things that are incorporated into the classroom, sometimes and a lot of times you see it, the kids come home and school just wasn't fun, and just to be able to incorporate very important skills as far as breaking down words, finding that there's more than one word in a word.
Words.
At my birthday party is genius. That's like a genius move.
And we can do hopscotch to spell letters,
Nice.
to spell words, letters on the ground, to spell new words, make it a guessing game, give out prizes for those, achievements.
Yeah.
And they love winning the little trinkets and
Yeah,
prizes
anything
anything to build hope and to
yes,
learn at the same
yes.
time.
And that's a really important skill because a lot of times it's not really that the children are incapable of learning, but maybe their style is different. And everyone can kind of feel like they've accomplished something if they're having a little fun while doing it.
Right.
So I really appreciate you bringing that extra
Thank
little
you.
piece to the birthday
Absolutely.
parties.
And we brought the balloons, of course. We make balloons at the party. Wanted to show you that. And of course, I have a boa for you.
Oh, yay!
Just for you.
Yes, I love
Yay.
these because I'm secretly sassy in my downtime here. But this is great, thank you. I wanted to ask you again, or just have you kind of elaborate a little bit more about effective communication, because
Absolutely.
it's also, I feel like when you're having trouble learning something or having trouble with the concept, if the children don't really know how to say that, it comes out like in frustration, or I don't want to do this anymore, or they totally dismiss it, but inside they're really just frustrated because they may not understand. So how do we begin to groom our kids to effectively communicate their feelings? I know a lot of times we say, like, how do we communicate with our child? What's the best way to get them to do what we want them to do? But how do we begin that conversation and begin implementing how we take our kids from processing what they're feeling and then verbalizing it out so that we can meet their need?
So looking at the feelings, the actions, and the thoughts connected to those feelings.
Right.
Getting them to express where they are. Just meet them where they are. Come alongside of them, listen to them. They're the experts of them, even at that young age. They know internally what's going on in their mind and their heart, even though they don't know how to express it all the time. But we pick up from what their actions are, what they're saying to us.
Okay.
And calmly come to them and just come alongside of them to listen and hear it and to guide them in a direction so that they're learning. We want to teach in the classroom and across many levels on multisensory. So that just because I say something doesn't mean you always, somebody can always understand it.
Right.
Sometimes we have to write it, we have to say it and write it. Sometimes we have to role play it out so they get it. A picture will draw up an image, or so getting them through pictures, through words, through what we say, through what we do, through other images and games to get them to express the way they are learning to learn best.
Okay. And that's really great advice, and I appreciate you digging that deeper. But what if I'm a parent that has, no experience, no teaching background, patience level isn't always that great, because it becomes a little frustrating at times, especially after you've worked a whole day or you dealt with something. So what are some tips that you can give us, a parent that maybe doesn't have experience with like breaking stuff down so easily? Is there, let's say, one favorite exercise that you would suggest that kind of helps start the process?
Well, sometimes, do you read with your child at home at
Yes.
night? At night, maybe having that quiet time, just your time together, like really saying we're going to set aside maybe 7:30 till 8 o'clock to just us to quietly come together and read. And maybe, what's your daughter or son's name?
Zara.
So Zara can say, well, maybe she could pick out a favorite book or something that really catches her eye of interest, or a hobby that she may have. Maybe she likes boas.
Right? Yeah, she does. She's gonna
okay.
like this.
So maybe that's a conversation piece. Maybe open it up to something that happened in her day or something that you saw that she may like, and that can open the door to a conversation, to you having a set aside time.
Okay.
7:30 to 8, so that you can come together and kind of connect with her that way.
Nice. Okay.
So quiet time, set quiet time with something that she enjoys, and that will open the conversation to something more, and let her kind of lead the way, letting her be the expert and you listening on the side and seeing the clues of what is interesting her, or what's troubling her, or what is a concern to her.
Okay. Great. That's a great tip. It is something that I try to practice at home sometimes. We're not always successful, but I will definitely, incorporate that a little bit stronger, because I think it is, and the world is so noisy now between phones and tablets and television and all those other things. So yeah, it's really important to kind of just quiet us down. When we come back, Debbie, I would like to talk to you about the teenagers and how we, open up that communication. We're going to take a quick break, and we will be back. Thank you for watching.
Television is a powerful and influential medium that allows different groups the opportunity to produce programming that directly affects their own communities. Public, educational, and government access channels ensure that all people, regardless of race, age, gender, disability, religion, or economic status, have access to local government information and the use of a public communication forum. Make sure everyone has a voice. Support your local PEG channels.
Welcome back to Wow Mom. I am your host again, Ingrid M. Williams, and I am here with Miss Debbie Warner, and we are talking about how to effectively communicate or with your children, or have them communicate with you. So we're going to hop back in. Okay. And we're going to talk about the teenagers, because there is a difference. My daughter, she's 8.
Okay.
And she's a little bit more open. Everything is, Mom, I'm the center for universe right now, and I'm kind of loving it. Okay. But I know that it changes. I have a niece who's 16, and you slowly watch the gradual keeping things in a little bit more. So how do we make that transition and make it so that the kids are able to learn tips at every stage of adolescence about how to effectively communicate what they're feeling, how they're feeling? Tell me, because sometimes, the teenage parents, they're scaring me. I want to freeze time with the 8-year-old.
There's no need to be afraid. Kids are kids, and when you show that you really care about them and that you're there for them, there's a kind heart that's listening, a listening ear. They want more of that. They are so hungry for the attention and just someone to really genuinely care.
Yes.
And not have an agenda, but to in school, the guidance counselor, or the teachers, we wear many hats. So it's the nurse, you're the teacher, but you're sometimes the mom and the dad, and you're the nurse, and you're the doctor, and you're of course the educator, but you are that caring soul, and they kind of gravitate towards you. So showing and connecting with something of interest, like a hobby or a sport or something that's current.
Okay.
They're really shocked if you know
that
latest trends and stuff, or things on Facebook, or what's the latest celebrity happenings, or rapper or singer.
Yeah.
So if you can connect with some of their interests,
then that kind of opens the door.
that definitely
It's
opens
kind of
the
hard
door.
to stay hip though, because I feel like I'm cool sometimes, and then my niece comes around and she's like, "What are you talking about? That was played
That's
out a long time.
old-fashioned.
Yeah, that's over. This is the new word. This is the the new something.
Lingo.
Yeah, and as an adult, there's so many other things that you have to do, and I'm sure like parents think about that. Like, I don't even have a second to like think my own thoughts, let alone keep up with this pop culture. So, what are some suggestions that you can give parents to stay fresh, to stay current, to stay relevant with their kids, and then you're still kind of fighting the battle of your kids feeling like you're so old and that illusion of she doesn't know, she doesn't think, they just feel like we're born adults. So how do you battle that too?
Well, in my mind, I believe I'm still 25, right? But with Sparkle Entertainment, I'm always around young folks. In the classroom, I'm always around young folks. I keep my ear open to what is being said and what they're talking about, and kind of watching and staying current with them. They keep you abreast of stuff. So with Sparkle Entertainment, we've been in existence for 15 plus years, and I hire young folks, and they're the face painters, sometimes a balloonist, and in the car when we go into different events or when we packing up, and I'm listening, I'm aware, and that's one way parents can do. They can just stay in their lives and around them, be the sometimes quote unquote the soccer mom or the one who's helping out at the activities at the school or different sporting events. You'll get to hear and see, and or you'll just ask.
Right.
Just ask them.
Well, what if their schedule doesn't allow that? A lot of times I try to stay abreast and current and volunteer a lot at the school, but then from some of the moms or dads or parents that, work and have rigorous careers. Maybe they work in the city and it's, by the time they have a long commute home, by the time they get home, it's almost 7 o'clock. And then they're jumping into whatever it is. They have to unwind. And by the time all that happens, now it's like 8:30, 9 o'clock. Everybody's winding down, for bed, let's say. Or let's say you have maybe a more complicated issues in the household where there might be some resistance. And it's not so easy to just, plopping down and into that conversation with your child if you're having like a little friction in the home. Do you have any suggestions on kind of how to start smoothing that over a little bit, or just opening up the door, loosening things up?
So maybe a friend of the child or someone that they open up to, maybe you can become, or the people can come connected to, parents can become connected to, another sibling, something of an inroad, maybe another teacher, maybe another classmate or their friends, family, some inroad through another person, another avenue that can give some insight into what's going on in their life. Or, I wasn't someone who texts all the time, and then all of a sudden, it's like this explosion of texting, and I'm texting to my kids, and then they're like, wait a minute, you're texting me? So I learn a little lingo, and I text them, and they open up a little bit. Long as I'm sending a smiley face or something of a concern, a care, a question. So tell me how your day went. What's going on with your life? And they might open up, they might not, but sometimes I will leave notes or leave something to let them know that I'm here, I'm present, I'm not going anywhere, I'm here for you. Maybe you go out to breakfast. Somehow find what's interesting to them so that they can open up and maybe come around, or if they're not opening up right now, maybe another family or friend, or find out who they're hanging around to find out, what's
going on
present.
That's a good tip. I'm hopefully thinking that everybody will kind of be able to find a place wherever they're at in their parenting and their relationship with their children. Some are a little bit more difficult than others at times. So that advice seems to transcend, and I'm hoping that we're being helpful to someone that's watching that might be having a difficult moment. So is there a difference between, well, I feel like there's a difference between, and that just might be my own thing, but the way young men communicate and the way young women communicate, and that's also oftentimes, I guess is when we're just naturally a little bit more chatty. So what about the parent or the mom out there that's, trying to get her son to open up and be a little bit more expressive to what their needs are. Do you see that? And when you are in the classroom, do you see that there's a difference in the communication styles and between the young men and the young women?
Like you said, the young ladies sometimes are more free to open up and be a little bit more chatty. The young men are a little bit more reserved, protective. It's just, again, finding that one inroad. Many times in the classroom, just had to find, it was a movie, you'd show a movie or something to connect that they might have seen, a story or book they might have read, some entry point that of his interest, even, the clothing, the attire, the shoe wear, something that is premier to them.
Okay.
And that will give you some kind of leverage,
Okay.
conversation piece. Doesn't always have to start out with an explosion of, verbiage back and forth, but something.
Okay.
The style, the haircut, form of jewelry, something happening in the news, something with sports sometimes works with young men. Just some entry point.
Okay.
Music.
Yeah,
Music
that's
is
a
very
good one.
popular.
Yeah.
Attire, footwear.
Yeah. The sneakers, they're like all the rave. Yeah, I know.
You can become the coolest person. You can become from dull to very cool if you know the latest with the footwear and things with sports or music.
Right.
Sometimes with students, that has always worked.
That's helpful. And I think sometimes as parents we kind of feel like we don't have to do all of that. Like, this is my kid. You just need to talk and you need to answer the questions. So it's good that we create the space for the children to just be themselves.
Definitely.
Right? And then to be able to be confident in themselves, to be able to communicate
Definitely.
those things. Because I really do feel like I'm around maybe a different set of children. I do oftentimes volunteer in like the juvenile detention centers to do job readiness trainings and things of that nature. So I see a different set of children, but when I sit down and like you said, give them that attention or that one-on-one, I realize that their needs aren't so different and they're not so bad as
no, they're not.
They would like to be portrayed as, even though we're in where we are. But when you break it all down, it's just that someone needed to spend some time, or maybe someone didn't teach them, those skills. So I think these points and tips, and it's really important to allow our children to be individuals, even though we're parents,
Absolutely.
and that kind of creates some friction, because there are some things that we need to know, and there are, you have to teach them discipline and all those other things, but we do as parents, I think, need to keep in mind that they are their own individual person, and they are going to think differently than you, and they're going to act differently than you, even though you birthed them.
And that's a good thing.
And it is
they are in their
very
uniqueness.
much a good thing, yes.
And that's what's important.
Right.
They are unique, and they need to be celebrated for that uniqueness. And the more that we affirm them, and let them know that we're there, we care for them, we love them, they will blossom.
Right.
Just keep pouring into their lives about the seeds of greatness. And that's what we do through the book, through the business, and through different programs that I write or work with.
Okay.
There's a program that I might have mentioned to you that is the pre-employment program through East Orange high schools.
Yes.
And it's pretty much the foundation of it all is really building hope.
Yes.
We don't want to leave them without something that's tangible that will impact their lives.
Right.
We have a three-pronged process with the program where it's a training for employment to teach them how to write an application or a resume, a cover letter, thank you letter, to go through the interview process like a mock interview and really have a set of interviewers, interviewees, and just have that cross exchange that you can impress somebody in 30 seconds and just kind of find out what, allow them to be very comfortable with themselves and articulate what they're thinking.
Right.
Because no one can mind read.
Right.
At least I can't. And you have to get it from up here and out here and really massage that information and really let it become something of substance.
Yes, and I think that's it's a really important skill to have, because as you get older, when you have to call upon that information, you don't know how to do it if nobody ever taught you. So
right, practice.
If
practice,
we as
practice.
parents can teach them from when they're 3, when they're 6, when they're 8, when they're
Absolutely.
12, when they're 18. I think that we will be creating a generation that is able to freely express themselves at an earlier age than we did as we were coming up. Some of these lessons I didn't learn until I was grown, and I would hope that I would do a better job of preparing my daughter for some of those things that life will throw at her, especially when it comes to effectively communicating your feelings.
So critical.
Yeah.
At the young age, putting that foundation there that education is important, and these are some platforms that make that happen. The book, the conversation, the finding out what's interest to them, and getting them to explore what career possibilities are in the future.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Debbie, so much for coming and opening up this conversation. I'm sure we're not done with it, but thank you for the starting point for today. If you can just let everyone know at home where they can find you, if you have a website, Facebook, Twitter, all those wonderful things, if they want to get more information or if they want to book a party with a bug.
Book a party with Sparkle. Yes. You can reach us with Sparkle for Entertainment at gmail.com, sparkleentertainment.com, 973-926-6430.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. We hope that the show today really started you or gave you some really great tips on how you can begin to build confident children that can effectively communicate how they're feeling, where they're feeling, and what they're thinking. We know the journey is not always easy in this mom game, but we hope to bring you some wonderful starting points. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Ingrid M. Williams, and I'm a Wild Mom. Have a great night.